Hey boys, welcome back to some NRL Supercoach 2021 pre-season, and it's going to, as you can see up the top right there, 25 days away from round one, dude. Oh, it's getting close. I'm so keen. Oh man, I feel like I haven't been this excited for an NRL season in a long time. I'm always keen, but I feel like, I don't know, last year it was still good. Like I enjoyed the footy. Like it was still great, and it was amazing that the NRL could sort of kick on pretty much unaffected, even with COVID. But you know, this season it just didn't feel like a proper season, I guess, with the little break and then just everything being a little bit different. So this year, hopefully things can run nice and smoothly, and I'm keen. But let's get through. This is going to be my sort of initial team. Now there's going to be plenty of changes made, obviously pending positional selections, who gets starting spots, all that sort of good stuff. But this is just sort of my early sort of draft team, just to sort of see what I can work with. So we'll start with the hookers. So Api Coruscant and Jacob Little. Honestly, I'm pretty set on having Api Coruscant. Now I know, you know, the premium, you know, probably Harry Grant and Damien Cook are gonna be the most sought after. Still pending what happens with Cameron Smith. I'm shocked that we haven't heard what's happening there. I don't know. Yeah, I'm very surprised that there hasn't been an announcement from Smith as to what he's doing. But if Grant gets that starting spot, he's probably going to be the most popular. But honestly, dude, I'm sort of like Api Coruscant. I think that there's not going to be a better dummy half to start the year than Coruscant. He's sort of shown throughout his career that he is prone to just, I mean, the size of him, the way he plays, like he's always prone to pick up a few niggles and you know, that sort of stuff by the end of the year, and he can get rested, and that's sort of what happened last year. I mean, he was killing it. He was probably the buy of the year last year. He was about, what was he, like 350k, I think, and I'm pretty sure I started with him at dummy half. Like you can probably go back to my first preseason video, and I, you know, everyone hopped on the train, and it's not like I was a genius, but I don't know, I feel like I was one of the first people to be like, Coruscant was an absolute lock-in, and then every podcast I listened to was like, oh, Coruscant could be a good pickup. But yeah, Coruscant was massive, and I mean, he was killing it. He was on top. And then sort of, you know, he gets rested a little bit, a few little niggles, reduced minutes, and you know, I feel like he's going to be fresh, he's going to be fit, and he always starts the year as well. And I feel like Penrith, I've said this before, but I feel like Penrith, they're not going to go as good as last year, but I do think they're going to start the year well. Like the heartbreak of losing the grand final, I think they're going to come out of the blocks fast, and I think Coruscant is a great pickup for under 600k. Jacob Little, he was sort of, I mean, originally he was a lock-in, but now that there's another young guy at the Tigers. What's his name, dude? I can't even think. What's his name? He's a real cheapie, but apparently they stole him from the Jake Simpkin. They stole him from the Bronx, of course, but there's huge raps on him, and I still think I'm probably just going to stick with Jake Little, because I think he's got the Supercoach game. Like he's a good runner, he's tough. If he can, you know, have a nice injury unaffected year, I think he'll earn some good money. He might not be a superstar, but I think, I don't know, Simpkin, he'll probably come off the bench, but you would expect Little to score more points than him. So that's sort of who I'm going with at the moment. But there's a couple of options for sure for the cheap dummy half spots. Then we move into the front row. So this is where I've switched it up quite a bit, and there's actually another big change that I probably will be making, but I'm not sure how to do it yet. So at the moment, I've got Tino, Ben Murdoch-Masila, Jack Hetherington, and Utokamanu. I think it's something like that. So Utokamanu, he's a cheapie. He's obviously got some big raps. He's a placeholder. We'll see who sort of gets bench spots, or if there's any other cheap front rows that pop up. Jack Hetherington, again, it sort of depends. I feel like surely he's going to get a starting spot, and I think he is like maybe not a lock in, not a must have, but I feel like he's going to have a big year. I mean, he's a beast, dude. Obviously, he's prone for a few suspensions, but if he gets a starting spot, he's gonna go hard early. I think he's gonna have some good scores in him, and he's gonna make some good cash. So Hetherington is sort of at the moment he's locked in for me, and I think he's a very good pickup. Ben Murdoch-Masila, I think he's close to a must-have. Although, he hasn't played in the NRL for a long time. So, well, he could be a bit of a dud. But I think he's got the Supercoach game. Like, I've said it before, but I remember the days when he played at the Tigers before he left. He was a wrecking ball. He went over to the Super League. He seemed to, get a lot fitter. He's been killing it over there. And he's a Supercoach guy. Like, he's got those... He might not have the work rate. I'm not too sure of his work rate, but he's got those attacking stats. Like, he's got a try in him. He's got a line break. He's a tough man to handle. So, I mean, if he gets a back row spot at the Warriors, I'm like, he's sort of a must-have. And then big Tino. I did have Tino in the back row, but I've switched him up into the front row because I feel like there's probably more... I don't know. This is the tough one because there are some really good... there's some really good front row options, and there's a lot that I really like. And I talked about it in my video. Obviously, I really like... I mean, Clemmer is safe, but I'm not... I don't know. I know probably a lot of people are going Clemmer, although only 13%, not huge. Takeaho could be goal kicking, and if he's goal kicking, is he a must have? I don't know. Like, that's the thing, because he's not going to play 80 minutes, and who's going to goal kick when he's off? I don't know. It's a tough one. And then I was really keen on Marty DePau. I was keen on Adam Finnell-Blake. And there's another guy that's Christian Welsh actually as well. I think he's underpriced for what he can do. With Tino leaving, Christian Welsh, I think, and also his average, it's definitely below what he does as well, because I think he came back from injury last year and he was definitely starting on the bench a few of those games. So I think Christian Welsh is a pretty good pickup as well for his price. I think he's definitely more of that, probably close to 600k type player. And then there's one player. Where is he? He's actually pretty cheap. That's the big reason I'm pretty keen on him. And yeah, Matthew Lodge, 299k. He had a shocking last year. He only played the 6 games, and even in those 6 games, he was rubbish. Like, he looked injured. Like, he wasn't running hard, he wasn't tackling hard. He looked, I don't know. Obviously, he was injured. He missed most of the season anyway. But he's under 300k. The year before, he was one of the best. He was one of the best front rowers. He was a cheapie that turned into basically a gun, and without Payne Haas for the opening 3 or 4 weeks, I think it is. You would expect Matt Lodge to get a starting spot, and then you would expect him to play pretty big minutes. So, dude, the front row, it's tricky because I want to fit him in, and I've actually, as you can see, I got 200k left in the kitty here. So I could upgrade like a Otakamanu for Lodge, but I don't know. Do you want... It probably is okay to have that many sort of like good, cheaper price players, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe I might end up trying to swing Tino back to the back row, and then bring in another cheaper front row. That could be my option, honestly, because I think Tino. Yeah, I'm still not sold on Tino though. Yeah, I don't know. I know everyone's going to be going him, but yeah. I know I talked about him, and in my opinion, David Fafita is probably the better option out of both of them, but Tino could kill it. So, it's a tough one. But that's what I'm thinking at the moment. I'm going to swing Tino back to the second row and pick up probably Lodge as my other starting front rower, or potentially going up to like a Adam Fanor-Blake or Christian Welsh. Both those guys I want as well. It's a tough one. There's so many good like 300 to 400k players that are definitely undervalued this year. It's tricky. Then we move on to the back row. At the moment, I've got Angus Crichton, Tamalolo, and David Fafita. Angus Crichton is locked in for me. He wasn't my first pick, but with Boyd Cordner being out, Crichton. I think Crichton and Madison and now McInnes. It probably makes it easier for a lot of people because McInnes is obviously gone for the season. I wasn't actually going to go McInnes anyway because I don't know. I was going to be a bit iffy on him just with him leaving next year. It's disappointing because, I don't know, there were going to be so many people going McInnes. It would have been, I don't know. I don't think he was going to have a bad year, but I definitely wasn't going to go him, and I thought it could have been a nice little difference maker, but obviously he's out injured, so people have to find a replacement. In my opinion, Crichton is probably the pick of the bunch. I just think he's got the work rate. He's got the massive ceiling in a good Roosters team. He can easily bang over 2 tries, a couple of line breaks. I mean, Crichton he's an absolute gun, and I think he'll be very, very good. Tamalolo, I'm actually very much considering getting Tamalolo out for Ryan Madison. I actually think Madison is probably just a safer option to at least start the year. And I mean, that's the thing. It's always like this. You're like, Tamalolo, the start of the year, up in Townsville, it's going to be hot. First few rounds, surely they're going to rest Tamalolo a little bit, but it just doesn't happen. Like, he still bangs out like 70, 80 points, and he's just a machine. But I don't know. I think Madison is probably the safer option, and he probably does have a slightly higher ceiling. I think he probably has a few more attacking stats in terms of tries. Tamalolo definitely has like the tackle breaking and probably more line breaks in him, but Madison playing on the edge, he probably has a few more tries throughout the year, which could boost his overall points. So I'm very, and even like, look at this. You know what? I'm making this change right now because Tamalolo 42%, Madison 25%. I like that quite a bit. And Dave Fafita, in my opinion, I think Dave Fafita is a must-have. He could burn me. He could burn me going to the Titans. Who knows? I mean, the Titans could be absolute rubbish this year, and Big Tino and Fafita might not have good years. But I just feel like Fafita, he's just too good. He's just too strong. He's too fast, and he can bang out like 30 points in one run. Like he doesn't have to have a huge work rate. And he can just score huge. So I'm pretty keen on this back row. This starting back row, I'm pretty happy with. And then our reserves, we've got Jordan Ricky, Ryan James, and Blore. So Jordan Ricky, again, it depends if he gets that back row spot, which I don't know. I don't know if he will. I don't know if he will. There's definitely good options regardless though. So it depends on teams. Ryan James is another one. I've just got him there for now, but there's again there's plenty of cheaper options. Ben Trebojevic could get a bench spot. Who else have we got? There's a few. I think there's a few cheapies, aren't there? Or maybe not too cheap, but there's definitely a few guys around that 200 to 300k. Joe Stimson, if he gets a spot, definitely has some points in him. Actually, there's not that many cheaper guys. I actually think that in the front row there's probably more good cheaper options, but yeah, we'll see who gets the starting spot, because who knows, dude. I could even swing Ben Murdoch-Masila down to the back row and pick up another, because I could. This is what I'm thinking. Maybe Tino and Ben Murdoch-Masila go down to the back row and just have a really good back row, and then have like Christian Welsh and Matt Lodge as our starting. Obviously, we'll need I'd almost have enough cash for that, potentially, but there's a couple other positions that I might need to spend more on. We'll see. But yeah, that's the forward pack at the moment. There's going to be changes, especially in the front row. I'm definitely happy with our hooking department and our starting back row. Move on to the halfback. So at the moment, I do have Mitchell Moses. Now, Nathan Cleary, everyone is saying to get Cleary. Cleary is just a lock-in for everyone. Everyone's got to get Cleary. And dude, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I can save so much money not having him, but is it gonna burn me? It could. It really could. And I do want Cherry Evans. I think if I get rid of Moses, I can't afford Cherry Evans. And so that's the tricky one. Because how many people Moses? I mean, he's only owned by 6%. It's gonna be a tough one. I actually feel like I'm not gonna start with Cleary. I'm going to go against the trend. It's going to be a gamble. It's going to be a big gamble because, Cleary, like I said, I think the Panthers are going to start well, which usually means Cleary is going to score well. But I don't know. I feel like there's really good value in Moses and Cherry Evans. Especially, it sort of comes, if Cherry Evans gets the goal kicking, I think I'll go Cherry Evans, but it depends. I sort of need Ruben Garrick. Hopefully he's just not on the radar and we get some clarification, because otherwise I'll probably go Moses, which does free up heaps of cash, and it does allow for some depth in other positions, which is nice. Then we have Jaden Sullivan. Probably, yeah. I mean, it seems like Sullivan's going to get that starting spot in the halves. I mean, he's a good young talent, definitely has the skills, so I think he's a good lock-in as a cheapie. I know a lot of people are going young Sam Walker, 37%, and it's just on the hope that he'll get in the team, because Lachlan Lamb, I guess, won't play well. But actually, I really like Lachlan Lamb, and I wouldn't be surprised if Walker doesn't play all year. So, I don't know. At the moment, if Sullivan gets that starting spot, I'm just going to go with Sullivan. Like, he's sort of, he'll make money. And then Sam Walker, maybe later down the line, you could trade out Sullivan for Walker to make some more cash. But, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with team selections. Then the 5'8". So, this is one where I might end up going with Munster. Just because, yeah, he's actually cheaper than Walker as well. I think I'm going to go with Munster, honestly. I'm probably going to go against the trend with Cleary, and I feel like doubling down and going against the trend with Munster is just, it's too much of a gamble. And I feel like Walker can definitely play extremely well, but Munster is probably going to play just as well and has the potential to probably start better than Walker. And I think Walker, he scored really well in the last round last year. I think he got a big score, I think. So I think that boosts his average slightly. But yeah, I think Munster's probably just a safer option. He has a higher work rate. He makes more tackles, makes more runs. So yeah, I'm probably just going to go with Munster just for the safety net of it. And yeah, there's honestly, it was only really down to Walker and Munster. There's good options. I mean, Kurt Mann, I think is very good, but he's probably priced to his maximum. Dylan Brown had a killer year, and I think out of everyone in the rest of the department for the 5'8", probably Dylan Brown is the only other guy I would contemplate as my starting 5'8", because I mean he has been incredible for the Eels. He is far outshone Mitchell Moses, and I think, I don't know, he's a young kid. He's probably just going to get better and better as he grows into it. So I think Dylan Brown is actually a pretty sneaky pickup. They're versing the Broncos. And that's the other, I'm going Moses, they're bloody versing the bloody Broncos, dude. So he could be in for an absolute killer start to the year. Yeah, I mean, it's sort of a it'll be a blessing and a curse, dude. And then our backup is Connor Watson. It seems like Connor Watson now is going to get that starting lock spot, so he is just an absolute must-have. So this is where it got a little tricky, because I originally had Matt Moylan, and I'm keen on Matt Moylan as well, because I feel like Moylan is just incredibly undervalued, because he's been terrible and he's been injured for the last couple of years, but he's going to get a starting spot. I'm pretty confident he'll score pretty well if he doesn't get injured. And I wanted Moylan, but obviously you've got to have Connor Watson, but you can only get Connor Watson at 5'8" or hooker, and I want Jacob Little. So I'm like, I don't know. At the end of the day, I am very tempted to have Connor Watson as my second dummy half and have Matt Moylan as the 5'8", because I do feel like Moylan and Connor Watson probably have the potential. Well, Connor Watson especially, it sort of comes down to Moylan or Little. And I feel like Moylan, if he doesn't get injured, he is going to score more points than Little. But yeah, it's a bob each way. It probably won't affect the overalls, but it's a little tricky. It's a little tricky to think about for sure. I'm not gonna lie. The other thing I was tempted by was having Connor Watson instead of Coruscant. You would save 200k. Then I could upgrade and get Cleary. I could upgrade and get another gun. And Connor Watson could absolutely kill it. So, and then I could have Little and Moylan. But yeah, I don't know. I like having Coruscant there just for the safety of it, I guess. But that's the other thing I was sort of thinking of as a bit of a long shot. But yeah, we'll see how we go. And then the center wing. The center wing is a tricky one, but at the moment, I'm sort of locked in. So Valentine Holmes, he's definitely my. I'm pretty much certain I'm gonna lock in Holmes. He's gonna be goal kicking. He's gonna have that fullback spot. He's gonna be good for the run, and I think he's definitely underpriced. Having a fullback in your center wing is just it's golden. So I'm pretty keen on Valentine Holmes. He's definitely at more of a premium at 500k, but he's definitely not. I mean, he's undervalued 100%. And then we have Charlie Staines, who, again, he's a little bit more expensive than what you would like, because I mean, he only played like, how many games did he play? 2 games. He scored like 6 tries. We'll go down here, have a look at him. It's obviously a little bit annoying. Yeah, he played 2. He played 2 games. He scored 224 bloody points. So that's why he's starting at 300k. But I do think you've pretty much got to have him because 53% of teams have him. He's obviously got that try scoring ability. He's not going to average 100 points, but I think, yeah, I sort of think you just have to have him, unfortunately, just because, yeah, I think he'll score tries. I don't know about his work rate, but he's definitely got the try scoring in him, and I think Panthers will definitely be an attacking team. Tessie New, again, it looks like he's going to get that starting center spot. I'm not sold on him because I don't know. I'm not sold on him. He has the work rate and he's got he's got all the skill. I still feel bad for him what Anthony Seibold did to him last year. I'm still filthy. I'm still mad about what Seibold did to him, throwing him into the Wolves basically when the Broncos were just awful, and then dropping him basically. Yeah. I was disappointed with how all that played out, but he's got the talent, and he's had a big preseason. He's bulked up. I think he can turn it on. So yeah, 232. He's definitely in the team. I guess it's just depending if I start him in the 17. And then Dane Laurie is the other pickup. So he's obviously made a late move to the Tigers, and I was looking, the predicted team list, he's not actually playing in the team, but I don't know. I feel like, and a lot of people do think he's going to get that fullback spot. He's a good young talent, and he's definitely got the work rate. He likes to take the ball up. He's not a big fullback, but he gets his hands on the footy, and if he gets the starting spot, he's definitely in the team, but I guess it depends. It depends who the Tigers go with. They have options. I think the predicted at the moment is Mbai at fullback, but we'll see. I don't know. I think Laurie will get the spot, but it's a wait and see on that. And then we have Bailey Simonson, who says he's injured. I think he's back for round 1, right? I think he's good to go. So I think he's a lock-in. Albert Hopewade, at the moment I've got him, and then Tane Milne. Again, these will probably change. Like I'll see who gets the starting spots, because there's quite a few decent options. Michael Oldfield, actually, I think he might get a starting spot at the Eels. Potentially, I think. And he's a decent option. Nene McDonald as well. I didn't even talk about him when I was doing the centers, but if he gets a wing spot for the Sharks, like in the day, Nene McDonald was an absolute gun. And I still love him as a player. Yeah. And then who else have we got who could come into the team? Jason Saab. He's one to watch if he gets a spot on the wing. Who else? Dane Laurie, we've got. There's a couple others. I think. Jonas Pearson could get a spot. Probably not, though. And, yeah, it sort of comes down to who gets the Raiders spot. There's a couple of young guys there that could pick it up. Any absolute cheapies that could get the spot? Adine Gabby? Dude. Oh, this dude is an absolute gun. Papua New Guinea, and oh man, he's good. I don't think he's going to get a spot, but geez, he is a player. I really hope he gets a crack, dude. Adine Gabby, he's an absolute monster. So good. Soily, I guess, as well. Like we'll see what happens with him. Yeah, he's one to watch. Hayes Dunster, he could get a starting spot at the Eels. And if he does, he's sort of straight into the team for sure. He's bottom price cheapie. But yeah, there's a centre wing, and then the fullbacks. So James Tedesco, I think he is the must-have player. In my opinion, Tedesco is the absolute must-have. Cleary, Munster, Tedesco. Every day of the week, you got to go Tedesco. He's only in 26% of teams, dude. I'm shocked. Now, don't get me wrong. I think he is overpriced. I think he will drop, but I'm just like, he's such a good option. Like he he's not going to score well unless he gets injured. And I think he's like a really safe lock-in captain every week, especially early on in the rounds. Like, you're sort of very iffy on who to captain. Like, which one of your forwards are you going to captain? Like, even at the moment, looking at my team, I'd be like Munster maybe, or probably either Crichton or Madison. But even then, I'm like, they're a bit iffy. Like, they could only score like 50, 60 points if things don't go their way. But Tedesco is like guaranteed to score 50, 60 if he has like an okay game. If they score some points, he's gonna score well. So I'm like, he's such a good player to have early, just for that captaincy sort of headache as well. Like, he's a lock in. And I just think you can't not get him. There's definitely good options, I'm not going to lie, but I don't know. Tedesco, in my opinion, I've got to go with him. He is overpriced, but I do think you've got to get him. And then my other one, I've gone with Tommy Trbojevic. I know my fullback discussion, I was talking up Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, and I'm still keen on Roger Tuivasa-Sheck, but the more I was looking at it, the more I sort of kept looking at Tommy, and I was like, I think Tom just has a little bit more in him than RTS. I do think RTS is going to have a great year, and I do think he is underpriced at 520k. But if Tom doesn't get injured, I think he's just got more in him. He's just got a bit more attack. He is, yeah. I like Tom, but the other guy, the other guy that I'm very keen on as well is Ryan Papenhuyzen, because it looks like he could be goal kicking for the Storm. It's sort of down to either Papenhuyzen or Cameron Munster. And I don't know. It's tough because they could take it in turns. Like, one of them might kick badly one night, so the other one takes over. It could be sort of something like that. But yeah, if Papenhuyzen is kicking goals, like, good Lord, how could you leave him out? I know someone put a comment in my fullback discussion video that he had Papenhuyzen with the goal kicking as well, and yeah, it's tough. It's tough to go past, but at the moment I'm going with the old tried and true Tedesco and Trbojevic combo. But oh man, I could easily see myself shifting to Papenhuyzen. Because yeah, I think he's got plenty more in the tank to give. Papenhuyzen, he could definitely be on the top of this fullback list without a shadow of a doubt. But yeah, that's the initial team. A long-winded video once again. It's Supercoach, but there's plenty to rabble on about. But I think it's a good starting team. There's definitely plenty of changes. I mean, you've got 228k in the bank. And yeah, probably, I mean, at the moment, like I said, the front row, definitely going to be some shuffling and some moves there to make. I'm Tino, Ben Murdoch, Masilla, and Hetherington, I'm pretty keen on, but I might try to shift some of those to the back row and pick up a couple other front rowers. And then the only other position is probably halfback, depending if I go Moses or Cherry Evans. And then the centre wing, it just comes down to who gets the starting spots. But I'm pretty locked in with Holmes, Staines, and Niu, just depending on Dane Laurie and our reserves. So yeah, let me know what any sort of smokies you're thinking of this year. Could be a good pickup. But yeah, hopefully you guys are enjoying the Supercoach stuff. I love talking about this type of stuff. It's always a lot of fun, the Supercoach videos. So yeah, make sure to like and comment, and I'll see you guys in the next one.